Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 554 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so happy you're here. With so much to think about in the world, there's so many things happening, so many new ideas, so much new technology. It's really good to have a tool that helps us manage our thoughts about all that because that's what matters. The good thing is we do control our thoughts. But sometimes we forget that, and that's why I'm here with this podcast, to remind us that we control more about our life than we realize. Our thoughts are the difference between feeling good and feeling not so good. Think about it. Have you ever lost sleep over something that never even happened? Maybe it's work, something worrying you about your health, or just that nagging what if that keeps you up at 2 a.m. Those worrying thoughts that we think just appear out of nowhere and that we don't control, we actually do. Worry is just a pesky, repetitive thought. Worry is like a thief that steals today's peace by borrowing tomorrow's troubles. I heard that quote years ago and it never left me. It just stuck with me because worry doesn't undo tomorrow's sorrow. It just really zaps today's joy. So why in the world do so many of us worry? A lot. Because worry does more than make us feel bad. It actually controls us and influences what we do. I grew up in a religion where fear was kind of used like a guardrail. It kept you in line, but it also kept you up at night. I remember I was probably 8 or 9, and I would just be in bed, lying awake, terrified that my parents would be tortured to death for our beliefs. That's really what they kind of taught us that was possibly going to happen. So one night I just couldn't take it anymore, and I remember getting out of bed. It was probably 11 o'clock or so, which felt like the middle of the night to me. And I found that my dad was still awake. So I'm crying and I'm very upset, and I tell him, I don't want you to be tortured in front of me. Now, you think he would say, sweetie, that's not going to happen. Go back to sleep. You're fine. No, that's not it. He looked at me and he said, well, if that happens, you have to promise me you'll stay strong. Now, in my little kid head, that was confirmation that my worst fear could happen. My dad just confirmed that. And so I lived in that fear for a very long time, years. Now, fast forward to when I was a teenager, another fear took over. It was when AIDS was all over the news. And I remember I kissed a boy I wasn't supposed to. He wasn't in our religion. And I literally convinced myself that God was going to punish me by giving me AIDS. I really did. I worried about that for months. Now, none of those fears came true. Not one. And looking back, I know it's silly. Some of those worries were really silly. But at the time, for me, they were real. And they gave me horrible anxiety and kept me up at night. And they really kind of shaped how I saw the world. But what I didn't realize was that my fears weren't just mine. They were fed by a system, a religion that used fear to control. I was being heavily influenced by something other than my own intuition and reasoning. And it's not just religion that does that. Governments, corporations, schools, media, they all know fear is a powerful tool. It's like they've cracked the code on human behavior. If you're scared, you'll do what they want you to do. You'll stay in line. You'll buy the product. You'll vote the way they want you to. Fear makes you pretty predictable. But here's the thing. Those fears, they almost never come true. But here we are, falling for them, lock and step the whole way, not realizing it's because we've been heavily influenced to do so. So what are we doing when we let worry and fear run rampant? Well, it's like handing over the steering wheel of our life to someone or something else. When you're worried, you're not in control. Fear is. You make choices you wouldn't otherwise. You avoid risks. You stay small, or you miss out on life's adventures. I recognize this about myself when we went mountain biking. I talked about it in the last episode. We went mountain biking in Moab. Now, that trail that we were on was not for beginners, and I was definitely a beginner, but it was terrifying with steep drops and rocky paths and just the works. Well, halfway through, I actually had the thought, if I'd known how scary this was going to be, I wouldn't have done it. But you know what? I was also having the time of my life. I literally wish I had one of those videos on me, because even though I was terrified, I was exhilarated. I felt so alive, and I was enjoying every minute of it in spite of my fear. I don't think a smile or a laugh left my face the whole time, but fear would have stopped me. That's when I started asking myself, what else am I missing out on because I'm afraid? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? Think about it. If fear wasn't running the show, would you take that job? Would you have that conversation or chase that dream? People who act without overthinking, without needing every detail, they often end up more successful. Why is that? Because the more you know, the more you worry. And the more you worry, the less you do. Worry tricks you into thinking you're preparing for the future. But really, you're just kind of missing out on the present. So how do we stop worrying so much? I mean, how do we stop worry from making us miss out on a life that feels alive and more authentic to who we truly are? For me, knowing what I'm worried about, actually naming it in a way helps diminish it, helps make it smaller. So I might say, well, I'm worried that I'll fail and I'll look stupid and be embarrassed. That's what I'm worried about. So I named it, okay? It's me looking stupid and being embarrassed. All right, but if you fail and maybe you are embarrassed, are you gonna die? Or are you just gonna learn what doesn't work so that you're one step closer to finding out what will work? So first of all, name that fear. Sometimes calling it out like that, naming it, is like shining a light on a monster under the bed. Now, the second thing I will often do is I'll ask myself, what's the worst that can happen? Most of the time, the worst case isn't as bad as your mind makes it out to be. And if it is, make a plan for it, be real about it, but then let it go. And third, focus only on what you can control. I mean, if you can't control what someone else thinks of you, why are you thinking about it? Let it go. If you can't control the situation, what can you control? Well, you can control your thoughts about the situation. If you can control your next step, take it. Worrying about things you can't control is like watering a plastic plant. It's pointless. One of the things that has helped me in life so much is the ability to just go with the flow, the ability to adapt. And if things aren't exactly the way I want them to be, but I don't control the things, I will find myself looking for what's good about the situation, even if it's just what good could come from the situation. Always look for the good and you'll find it. You see, for me, doing those three things, naming the fear, asking what's the worst that can happen, and only focusing on what I can control, has helped me a lot. Like over time, I realized most of my worries never happened. And the ones that did, I handled them. I mean, we're all so much stronger than we think. If you think about it, what has happened in your life that you thought you weren't going to survive, but you did? Nothing, because here you are, alive, listening to a podcast that you're hoping will make you better. See, you're already winning at life just with that small 10-minute move. But here's the truth. Worry will always try to sneak in, but you don't have to let it run the show. You deserve to be happy and present and enjoy every day without allowing tomorrow's possible problems affect you today. Note, I said possible. My challenge to you today is this. The next time you feel that knot in your stomach, ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid right now? Then take one step towards that. You might be surprised where it leads. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. I publish twice a week, and the episodes are always short and to the point, but I like to think they pack a big punch. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.